Can cheap be perfect? And if not, is an imperfect watch still better than a perfect expensive watch? Well, today we have something cheap to put that to the test. And when I say cheap, oh boy, I mean cheap. The Cadisen C7063, or as it will henceforth be known as in this reckless expedition, the Cadisen Lunar Pilot Homage. Now, full disclosure, I picked this up in the AliExpress anniversary sale. No brand deal, no gifting emails, and no complimentary trip on a Jeff Bezos Johnson-shaped themed space ride. So buckle up for an honest journey to the lunar surface, or a hoax ride a few miles above the Earth's atmosphere, or whatever. We all know the story of the Bulova Lunar Pilot, one on the moon in 1971 by astronaut Dave Scott, because his Omega broke. Oops. The modern interpretation of that final frontier themed timepiece is a chunky chronograph blending NASA-approved heritage with a meaty 262 kHz quartz movement that's more accurate than your smartwatch horoscope app. It's bold, unapologetically retro-futuristic, and can be yours for a fairly attainable price tag of under £500. So why the interest in a homage if the original is within gravity's pull? Well, it's big. Like Jupiter's Ganymede big, whilst my wrist falls squarely in Mars's Deimos category. Yes, more recently, Bulova has been through some trimming, but at 43.5mm, it's still astronomically oversized compared to my wrist. So how does the Cadisen compare? Let's find out. With a case size measuring 42.5mm in diameter and a 12mm thickness, the Cadisen, on paper at least, appears better proportioned and more wrist-friendly than its Bulova idol. And at a smidge over 48mm lug to lug, it's still big, with the wrist presence expected of such an iconic design, but more fitting for us mere earthlings, rather than some giant intergalactic race from the Andromeda galaxy. The proportions feel like Cadisen has photocopied the Bulova but selected 95% scale before printing, which visually looks great and keeps the true form of the original watch in place. However, the knock-on effect of having an awkwardly sized 19mm lug width comes with its problems, and a particularly frustrating one at that, which we'll cover later. The case is constructed of the standard 316L stainless steel and finished in a utilitarian, fully brushed, simple but totally acceptable finish. The signed crown is grippy and easy to use. Cadisen has opted for a screw-down crown here, which seems a bit over-engineered for a chronograph with unprotected push buttons and does nothing to add to the water resistance further than the 50-metre rating. And that rating, clearly nothing to write home about, but there's very little water on the moon and certainly no postal service to get your letter home anyway. And speaking of the pushers, Cadisen has taken a detour from the Lunar Pilot playbook. Instead of those chunky blue paddles that look like they were swiped from a spaceship control panel, we get traditional chronograph pushers. Classic, restrained, and far less slabby on the wrist. Personally, I'm all in. The original pushers added a whole lot of visual bulk to a watch that was already leaning into the mass of Uranus. And this is a cleaner setup, feels like a breath of fresh air. The bracelet? It's fine. Brushed, basic, and thoroughly average, but in an endearingly no-fuss kind of way. Each link has a soft, round edge that catches the light with a bit more flair than your standard flat oyster-style snooze fest. And the female end links do add a stellar job of refining the watch's wrist presence. But alas, Houston, we have a problem. Or two. One's forgivable, the other less so. First up, the jangle. Yes, it's there. Not full-on rattlesnake in a can jangle, but definitely somewhere in the Seiko 5 universe. Look, for a watch this wallet-friendly, I'm not expecting meteor-proof engineering. And the solid steel links do give it a leg up over the true bracelet bottom dwellers. It's an acceptable trade-off for the price. Consider it charmingly lo-fi. But the second issue? That's where things get weird. A butterfly clasp with no half links, none. And while the clasp itself clicks shut with reassuring solidity and double push security, The fit is a cosmic gamble. You'll either have a watch that's hugging your wrist like a clingy alien or floating around like it's in zero gravity. And here's where the black hole really starts pulling. The bracelet's an awkward 19mm with no taper. So not only are strap change options as hard to hunt down as Planet X, but swapping out the clasp for a more practical dive style one becomes a galactic pain. Basically, if the fit's not just right out of the gate, you've got yourself a lovely paperweight until further notice. Let's be honest, the case and bracelet aren't the gravitational pull here. The real reason this watch pulls you into its orbit, that dial. And dare I say it, it's gorgeous. Full kudos to Bulova for dreaming up this little slice of lunar elegance, especially in the colourway I've got in hand. Creamy white main dial, rich blue subdials, and a matching blue tachymeter ring. It's dreamy, galactic even. Sure, Cadisen's done a little remixing of their own with some alternate colour options, and both of them are solid contenders. But for me, this is the one. The combo of that soft, flat, moon dust textured dial with the crisp sunburst subdials is just visually delicious. You've got grit and gloss, raw terrain and refined machinery. It's like staring at the lunar surface with a glossy, shiny lunar rovers dotted about. And the crystal? A huge flat slab of sapphire with AR coating, giving you a crystal clear view of the cosmic drama playing out below. It's a front row seat to the show, and you'll find yourself gazing at it more often than you care to admit. But, and here comes the meteor shower, maybe Cadisen should have made the dial less enticing. Because the more you stare, the more cracks you notice. Let's start with the tachymeter ring. It looks fantastic, adds a lovely outer frame, no complaints there. But then, you spot the centre seconds hand ticking away, and suddenly, the logic engine sputters. A tachymeter scale with a centre seconds hand, completely pointless. Why Cadisen chose the Seiko VD63 movement, which puts the seconds on the main hand and the stopwatch on the subdial, is beyond me. Probably a cost-cutting choice, and yes, this watch is hilariously affordable, but still a bit of a cosmic joke. You've got this sleek space-age look, and then boom, functionally, it all unravels in your hands like a starliner with thrust issues. But hey, let's hit pause on the obvious blunders for a second, because once you look past the functional faceplants, the rest of the dial, it's genuinely impressive. Borderline absurd for the price. The hands are crisply finished, looking far fancier than they have any right to be at this price point. And that controversial centre seconds hand, as much as it offends the tacky purists, it actually pulls off the neat little trick of hitting most of the markers on the outer seconds track with decent accuracy. Not something you'd expect in the budget stratosphere, but here we are, defying expectations like a North Korean space program. Then there are the applied hour markers. Oh yes, not only are they present, which is already a pleasant surprise at this price, but they're finished cleanly and aligned with precision. They catch the light just right, giving the dial a level of depth and polish. And now, the loom. Well, let's just say it exists. It's not going to light up the galaxy or even your bedroom at 3 AM, but for a watch this cheap, we'll take what we can get. It's more of a polite nod to legibility than a full-on illumination system. But hey, at least Cadisen showed up at the loom party, even if they didn't bring snacks. On my 6¼ wrist, the Cadisen Lunar Pilot Homage wears shockingly well for something of this size. Thanks to the gently curved case, it hugs the wrist like it actually wants to be there. No awkward top heaviness, no wobble, just a solid, grounded presence. That said, my one gripe, it fits a touch snugger than I'd like. Not tourniquet level tight, not even properly uncomfortable, but it's the kind of close fit that'll have you thinking twice on a scorcher of a summer day. Sweat plus swell plus snug equals no thanks. But here's the thing, despite the quirks, the eyebrow-raising choices and the occasional why though moment, I still love this watch. And yeah, I'd recommend it. If it were priced at, say, 4 times what I paid, then sure, we'd be having a very different conversation. But I snagged this thing for a ridiculous £20.22 after stacking coupons like a madman during the sale. And honestly, I still don't understand how that's possible. It feels like I robbed the brand and they just let me walk out. So if this quirky little lunar tribute has caught your eye and you're curious to try it out, the affiliate link's down in the description. Just a heads up, it's not at that wild sale price anymore. So if you're after a similar bargain, you'll have to keep your radar on and wait for another drop. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that little bell icon so you don't miss the next ridiculously underpriced gem we launch into the spotlight.